it's Nicola here, Nicola Jayne Little from Mint Business Club. I wish you could see the top of the banner because everybody's laughing their heads off. Being a member of Mint Business Club makes you this happy. Big up to Paul Lancaster for pulling off Newcastle Startup Week online. Wow, to take such an event and turn it into this online extravaganza. Paul, just hats off to you, mate. You've done such a great thing for our community. So that's really what I was going to talk to you about on day two. Here we are. I was going to talk to you about running communities and how we at Mint, we're a community ourselves, but how we use Facebook groups actually to benefit the business. And I thought I would just take that and turn that into a little video for you. Some questions to think about if you're either running a community group, if you're using Facebook or any of the other social platforms, or if you've got a group that is working not so well for you at the moment, or if indeed you are looking to start a group and don't have any clue of where to start, and if you're kind of thinking, well, doing a Facebook group, oh my goodness, it's just another thing to do, then this video is for you. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm not going to go on too long, don't worry, but I'm going to keep to about 7 succinct points that I'd like you to think about for your community groups that you run. Okay, so point number 1. I'll just set the scene a little bit. We've got to have a reason to run some Facebook groups, right? Or our group, or many groups, or the communities that we want for our business. There has to be a why. Why are we doing it? What is the strategic reason? Now, normally, I'm not very fond of the whole, if you follow me, you're going to get this, and if you follow my actions, you know, you'll get 20,000 Instagram followers in a minute and a half. I don't normally subscribe to that thing, but I would like to share a story from about 2 years ago. And in my group that I run, and we've got a business support from Mint Business Club. It's a free group with 1,700 people in. In that group, I invited people to join a couple of the things we were doing. So there was a boot camp running and something else, other training. And in that group, I sold out all of my courses in that 1 month. And that was to the value, the total value, mind, not just in a month, the total value of about £10,000. So when I talk about what is your reason for wanting to have a community online in this way, a group attached to all the other social stuff that you might do, what is the reason? But I think if I said to you, would you like to make 10 grand in a month? You'd probably say, yes, Nick, I really, really would. Please tell me how to. Now, that wasn't an overnight thing. We've been running communities at Mint and my previous business, Digital Sparkles, for 6 or 7 years. It has taken years to build up our community. So they trust us and know us and value the input we're putting in there for them. And that's a really huge thing. So my first thing is why do you want to do it? Why do you want a group? You might have your website, you might do normal marketing, you might have a sales team. What is a group, a community in this way? What is a group going to give your business? That's the very first thing I would like you to think about. And when you can write that down, what its strategic purpose is, what are you aiming for out of this group? Then the rest will follow. So that was point 1. Now, point 2 is got to be, who is this group for? So once you've identified your why do you want a group, right? Who are you going to invite to it? Now, there's loads of different ways to do this. You might have a very small group that is just for existing customers right now, super fans, if you like. You might have a group of people who you've come across in and around or who've made an inquiry. And so it's for those people who know of your brand but haven't actually bought off you yet. This gives you a chance to keep in touch with them. You might have a group that's open and anybody on the planet can join. You know, you might not be restricted by geography or type of person. And in each instance, it works differently and it works well depending on what your why is. So for example, the group up near where I live in Concert, the buy and sell group, it's pretty obvious what that is and who it's for. And basically anybody in Concert who's got anything to buy or sell can join that group. But when I set up my groups, it was in the first instance to gather people who I'd met when I was out and about training and to keep them in a community together just so I could help them more or they could ask me questions. So if I'd seen them on training, they had somewhere to come back to me. It wasn't a direct sell group, and they never have been, but it certainly was a group where I could stay in touch with people who I'd met along my journey. And they, if they wanted to, could obviously then stay in touch with me and network with other people. Now, our groups are for people in the Northeast. It's really simple. Our group, Mint Business Club is based in the Northeast. It was always face-to-face training. It can't be anymore at the moment. But, the people that we invited were the people who might want to join the business club, self-employed, small businesses. So there was a very strategic list of people we wanted into our club. So that sat then very much with, why are we doing it? We're doing it to keep people together of the same type of people who might eventually want to buy from us. That was our reason. Okay, so that's your who. What type of group is it going to be? What type of group are you going to run? We've just mentioned a couple. Is it a sell group? Is it a helpful group? Is it a points and tips and hints group? Is it a mix of all of it? I've seen our community group for some of the beauty salons, the hairdressers. They work spectacularly well where they just list appointments. We've got this appointment on Saturday. We've got that appointment next week. We've got this appointment next week after that, right? We've got an immediate appointment now. That works really well for that community who might be looking for instant hair appointments or nail appointments, It works really well. In our group, we're not a sell group. We're a share information group. We're there to share and help and encourage and answer questions. So that type of group is a little different. Of course, we do have opportunities to sell in the group, but it's not about that. Its main why is definitely not just about sell. It's about how much can we help? How much can we help and support one another in our business community way before we make any sales? So when you've thought about why you're going to do it, you're thinking about who's going to be invited to this group, and then you're going to think about what kind of group it needs to be. Now, in the settings on the Facebook groups, you can determine whether or not you want to ask people questions before they come in. And this will let you then really enforce the rules of the group, what type of group it is and who it's appropriate for. And that pulls those 3 points together. And then you can decide, if people answer those questions, then you let them into your group. And if they don't answer the questions, you might not. You might choose not to let people into the group. If you had a group that was for members only, so such as the one for the Mint members, it's very specifically, it's a private group, and only the people who are paying the subscription for the business club can join, because it is for them, it is their safe space. So you can see that the why and the what and the who all tie nicely together for a purpose, because the next thing we've got to consider is, what is your commitment to this group? What time are you going to put into it? Now, everybody always asks me, Nick, how much time do you put into this group? And what I say always when I used to do the digital training was, if that's your first thought, we need to really change our mindset about it. Because if by putting in a lot of commitment and time, we get a lot of sales, or we get raised profile, or whatever that is that you're looking for, then why are we worried about whether or not it's going to take loads and loads of time? But of course, people go, yeah, but I've got a Facebook page, I've got my website to run, I've got LinkedIn, I've got this, I've got that. Oh my gosh, it's just another digital platform. It's another thing to do. So you've got to be really realistic about who and how you're going to run this group. What time? What is your commitment to it? Are you going to be in there every day? I'm in my groups every day. Are you going to post every day? Are you going to talk to people every day as if you were networking every day in it? Do you go back and answer people's questions every day? Do you tag people into other, you are the facilitator of this group. It's your group. You've set it up for your business purpose. How much time and commitment are you going to put into it? Because to be honest, it was many years before I got that super month. Many years of inviting people, asking people to join, sending out the links, sending out newsletters with it on, changing the button on the Facebook page to to help people automatically join the group. It took years and years and years. So the successes weren't overnight. How much time and commitment are you going to put into planning and running this group? But if you remember the why, the who it's for, and what it's about, then that should naturally flow from that. You might have 20 minutes a day. You might have an hour a day because it's something you really want to do. But it must be thought through, because there's nothing worse than starting a group gung-ho, right? And then 2 weeks later, nobody can be bothered to run it. There's no posting. Oh, it's just tumbleweed. Okay, so we've got all of that going. You've thought about your time, your commitment, your who, your what, and your why. And now we're going to think about what to post. The way a good group runs is through really engaged members, adding content, engaging with the content, talking back with one each other, tagging people in, being a part of it, being present. And you'll always find there are people who are really present and there are people who just sit back and watch, and that's fine, because often the people who are sitting back and watching are really, really engaged. It just might not be their personality push themselves forward. But the content that you put out there, which must meet the needs of the people who are in there, as well as your business needs to be planned properly. So we're not just going to just shove any amount of stuff in there without any thought process at all. Some of the things that work really well for us, things like Mint Monday, what are you doing today, Sell Sunday. People love to talk about themselves and their businesses. People love to be able to contribute where they're comfortable. So when you ask someone, what are you up to in your business today? Take a selfie of behind the scenes or share a tip that's really helped in your business. People love to do that because it can be done without judgment. All right. So thinking about the content really, really carefully. What are you going to share, write and do? What polls are you going to run? What videos are you going to share? Just like this in Paul's group now. What are you going to share, write and do that will engage your members, the people in that community, the people who want to hear from you? What are you going to do? And this is obviously part of your time commitment as well. Your time commitment is massive. You've got to prepare this content. You've got to think perhaps differently about your other social platforms. Because if you're just sharing the same stuff all the time from everywhere, what's the difference? What's the purpose of that group? Okay, so this time commitment, this content commitment, it's about your members' needs. It's about that community need and what they need to hear, to read, to see. But also encouraging the members of that community to share content too. So when are the days perhaps that they can share the links off their website or promote their businesses or share those hints and tips? If this is about a community coming together to share and help, then it's up to us as the facilitators to really share and push that out there. And do they know the rules for that? Every Sunday you're going to do this, every Monday we're going to do that. And in between, there's just like other stuff that's helpful. But it's not, running a group and running content is a proper thought process, because again, I'll take you back to the why are you doing it? If it's not meeting the criteria and the strategic objective for your business, why are we doing it? Okay, so then we've got content, we've got time, we've talked about the commitment, we've talked about maybe some themed days. We've talked about why we're doing it, who we're doing it, who's it for. And now just a little bit of etiquette. If you are working in your group, what is the etiquette that you want and expect from other people? Are you going to go off and share content from that group into 20 other groups? I would suggest not, because you'll probably get slammed off Facebook for for spamming. All right, so think about the etiquette. How do we do the pleases and thank yous? What are your business values? How are you writing? Do you write with a different tone in this group? If it's people you know very well, do we have a slightly different tone than the rest of the business tone? What would we expect from others? And it ties back to the group rules, doesn't it? What is the etiquette of your group? And again, I will implore you to remember that it is your group. It's your group, and you must set the boundaries and the rules for this group. And if there are people in there who don't adhere to that, and for example, just put posts in that are inappropriate or whatever, it is up to you to manage that group. But you can do that through the group settings as well, and making sure that, you know, maybe you get sight on every post before it goes live into your group. So there's different ways to do that, but we've really got to think about this group as an extension of our business. It's a marketing tool, a sales tool, a raise your profile tool, a look who we are tool. You know, we want to have our values really strong in there and people understand who you are. Now, after all of this, after all of those points, the last thing I want to draw your attention to is the fact that you need to know if it's working. So if you're spending all this time, this commitment, doing this content, you've picked the right people, you've got stuff going on in there, then within the group itself, you can look at the group insights and see what's working well, which posts perform best, which people, who are the people who are the top fans and always comment, right? Who and what works best, what times perhaps work best for posts. So then you start to understand, using the insights within the group, you understand what works best for this community. And knowing that means you can do more stuff that works best, more engagement. That kind of post, that video worked really well, that poll worked really well, that post fell on its backside and didn't work at all. You know, so I don't want to post one of those again. You know, Sunday morning doesn't work, but Sunday tea time works. So then you start really understanding what works in terms of content for the members of this group. So that takes a little bit more commitment. Again, back to time and commitment. How much time and commitment do you give to working out what works? Because otherwise, well, really, if you do that, then you're going to save yourself time, aren't you? You know, you save time by understanding how it works. Okay, so that's me. I'm Nicola from Mint Business Club. I hope you have found some of these hints and tips for running your Facebook community successfully. You know, our groups have got something like an 80% engagement rate. They're through the roof. It's absolutely brilliant how the members of Mint, especially the Mint Business Club members, you know, how they are in their community, how much they support each other. You never feel alone. You never ever feel like you're just sitting there and your stuff's just falling on deaf ears. So check us out, but thanks for watching, and thanks again, Paul. What a smashing job you've done of pulling Newcastle Startup Week into this type of format. Hats off to you, mate, because absolutely brilliant. I love being part of your community. Thanks for having us. See you later. Bye.